This video will demonstrate going from Windows to a Raspberry Pi with the remote rig setup using Windows free software and the Raspberry Pi's own free software. On the Raspberry Pi, again, we're using VNC Viewer. The realVNC has established a relationship with the Raspberry Pi so that you can get your own account there and set it up, and it's always ready. And here we have it, so let's get it going. On the Raspberry Pi, we have it interfaced with the K3S using the K3S's USB sound card serial port adapter on the back plate. So I have a USB cable running from the Pi over to the back of the K3S, plugging into the USB port back there. So you can send some commands to control things, and you can get the audio from the K3HF receive and the K3 side tone if you wanted to listen to the side tone. So since we're using JackAudio, we're going to start up QJackCTL, the control for that. Go into the setup here, and we're running DUPLEX with the ALSA driver. For the input device, we want to hear the K3 audio, so we need to use that USB sound card, and that's what it's called here in QJackCTL, the USB audio codec. So we want that for the input. For the output, we want the Pi's own sound card, the BCM2835. So let's go ahead and start that up and see if everything works okay. There we go. And in the messages, everything looks like it's starting. We're at 48K sample rate, 480 frames, real-time mode. You can also look up here at the RT, and the LED will light up and go on and off. So what we're using the output here, which is called system, this is the Pi's own speaker output at speaker jack. We're sending the audio from a remote location over an audio streaming app called JackTrip, which we'll set up here in a second. And when it receives audio from that JackTrip connection, which will be a CW tone, that CW tone will come out of the speaker jack of the Pi, and with an audio cable it connects to the input of an audio-derived CW keying circuit, which just uses some diodes to rectify the audio voltage, and that keys the base of a transistor whose collector is connected to the CW jack, and it just grounds it. So that's how we send CW. So let's go ahead and get JackTrip started. And we run JackTrip-S, and that sets up a server, and the other one will use a client. And to control the K3 using the realVNC desktop, we're going to use Grig, which is a free application. It's just a very simple, and it has just a few functions, but at least it lets you change the frequency and the mode and a few other things. So it's Grig space -m space, and the model number of your rig, mine's an Elecraft K3S, and that number is 229. The -R tells it where the serial device is located, and it's a USB, so the /dev /TTY capital U capital S capital B and the number 0. Then it runs through its grid there, and then here's the GUI. So Grig is connected, and it's on 40 meters at 7027. So now let's see if we can get some audio working. Let's start JackTrip on Windows, which is right here. You have to bring up the run command, the CMD, and the run with admin rights. Then you migrate to the JackTrip folder, and then type in JackTrip space -c, and then the IP address of wherever you have the server, which is running on the Pi. And we should get something going here in a second. There it is. And we'll bring it in 7 and 8 so you can hear it. And we're going to send audio from FL Digi right QSK channel, the right channel. So FL Digi is in somewhat of a stereo mode. The left channel has its own frequency and volume, and you can adjust the rise and all the weight. But on the right side, there's another screen where you adjust a 1 kilohertz tone with a 0 rise time and 0 fall time. It's under Configure, Modems, Timing, and QSK right here. So check mark that. And this is the settings I'm using. I'm trimming 3 milliseconds off of every element to compensate for the audio derived keying circuit, which adds a millisecond or two through the capacitors there that are working to rectify the audio voltage and turn on a transistor to key the rig, which is the output of that transistor is connected to the input of the CW keying jack. It's just a couple dollars worth of parts. So before we send it over, let's see if we can hear it ourselves. So I'm just using the left channel, and at the left channel you control the pitch here and the volume of the pitch right there. So I have minus 15 dB is the volume and 708 is the frequency. And let's see what the okay, so that's working. Now let's connect it and take another look at the Pi and make sure everything's connected. So over here is the sound card of the Pi output. Over here is the incoming audio from me at the remote location, sending that FL Digi 1 kilohertz tone. So we'll bring up FL Digi here again, send a QRL. And you can hear the side tone and then the audio in the background. The HF static kind of goes away and it comes back, so everything is working. It's in full QSK mode on the K3. So that's working. So we're hearing audio, and this Pi is receiving the FL Digi right channel tone, which again goes out of here with an audio cable over to the input of that audio derived CW keying switch. There's an article about that will be in the show notes. And if we want to, we can adjust the frequencies on Grig. Scan up, left click goes up. And so forth. So we'll take the output here for a second. And we'll just take that all out there for a second. On this end of things, the Jackrouter for Windows or Windows 7 or Windows 10, there's a couple videos that will show you how to set this up. It uses ASIO for all and your native sound card. Those are the settings that I have at the moment. And then we're using a VST host right here called PedalBoard. And in PedalBoard we have the microphone VST plugins up here. And we have the arriving audio from JackTrip coming in 7 and 8 here. So you'll be able to see that. So we have a little bit of automatic gain set here from 24 to 12 with loud max. That's just enough to bring it up a little bit, but not too much to where you get that AGC pumping that's really bad if it's too severe. Go through a bit of a bandpass filter at these settings, 500 to 1000. You can left click and adjust those. This is another free VST. Here it is, sounds like without it. So just like a bit of like a crystal filter going from 1.2K down to 500 hertz bandwidth. So it cuts out that far-reaching low frequencies and high frequencies. Concentrates more in the middle part, which is where most of the CW tones are located. This is just a level that comes with pedalboard, so I can adjust how loud I want to hear it. And yet I've set how loud to record by just going straight to output 7 and an 8, which is right here going to the screencast recording on jack. Now I'm using the SAR audio, synchronous audio router, and there'll be a show note about that if you're interested in this, and the synchronous audio router. But just for the basic setup, you just need Jackrouter and ASIO for all. And then you have, of course, get JackTrip. JackTrip is a free application for Mac, Windows, and Linux, or Linux, whatever the pronunciation is there. And I think that's just about it for remoting in with Windows to a Raspberry Pi using Raspbian Jessie. And this is a Raspberry Pi 2B. Thanks for watching.